Hi everyone, so today I'd like to talk about crossing the land border between El Salvador and Honduras at the El Amatillo border crossing. I'll also talk about how you can temporarily import your vehicle into Honduras and acquire a tip for it. To cross this border, you'll need a few things. You'll need to get a negative PCR test and a copy of your results. You'll also need to fill out the Prechequeo online beforehand. I'll post a link to the website where you can do this in the description of this video and on my blog. You'll also need to bring cash with you on the day of the actual border crossing. It costs $3 per person to enter Honduras, and it costs $35 to import your vehicle. Try to bring exact change, as the officials at the border crossing won't have change for you. But if you don't have exact change, there are people who will exchange currencies for you outside the immigrations building. They'll also break down larger bills for you at a small fee. You also need some paperwork to import your vehicle, so you're going to need your passport, your driver's license, and your title. For all these documents, you'll also need copies of them, so make sure you get those beforehand. However, if you don't, at the El Salvador crossing, there is a yellow building where you'll be able to get photocopies made. Alright, so the day to cross the border comes. The first thing you're going to do is you're going to drive past a long line of trucks. Drive against traffic and don't stop until you pass the trucks. No one's going to say anything to you. Those trucks are there like permanently, it seems. They don't move. So just pass them, and the first checkpoint you're going to get to is a bridge. So at this bridge, you should have your El Salvadorian tip paperwork ready. The official there is going to ask you for it, and he's going to sign it. After you do this, you need to pull over. On the right-hand side, you'll see two buildings, a yellow building and a blue and white building. The yellow building is where you go get copies made, and the blue and white building is where you either close your tip for your vehicle in El Salvador, or you can put a pause on it if you're driving back through. We were going to drive back through, so we put a pause on it. So to do that, you need to go up to the booth. It's the window on the left-hand side, and there will be a woman or a man there, and she'll ask you if you want to pause it or if you want to close it. So we wanted to pause it. So she signs it, then she asks you to go get a copy at the little yellow building, and then you have to go back to the official at the bridge. It's right there. It's like everything's within 20 feet of each other, and he'll sign that for you. Once he signs it for you, you have to go back to the woman in the booth, and she'll stamp it, and then you're going to need to get another copy of that made. So you're going to go back to the yellow building, make a copy of that, and then that copy, you bring it back to the woman in the blue and white building, and she's going to hold on to it. So that means you paused it. If you want to close it, it's basically the same process, you just close it. But if you need to drive back through El Salvador, I suggest just putting a pause on it. So that first step is done. After you do this, you're going to keep driving, and you're going to arrive at a white building. It's going to be on your left-hand side. Same thing you're going to do, you're going to park, and you're going to go up to the window. There's two windows, and this is where the immigration officials will ask for your passport for you to exit the country. They'll also ask you if you filled out the Prechequeo for Honduras. So if you haven't done that, which we hadn't done it because we didn't know about it. So if you haven't done it, the official will instruct you to go to this building behind the immigrations building, and it's basically a window, and there will be a man there, and he'll ask you for your passport, and he'll ask you for, I think it was $5 per person, to fill out the Prechequeo online for you. So he just asks you for your name, your email, your passport number, and he fills it out for you. So it was, it's kind of sketchy because it's not an official building, it's just a guy working out of his house, and he does this for you as a favor, basically, if you pay him. And you get back in your car and you keep driving. So you're gonna get to a roundabout, and then you go, if you are going around the roundabout, you go straight. Once you do that, you've officially exited El Salvador. So the next place you're going to get is you're gonna get to a little bridge. It's the COVID checkpoint to enter Honduras. So at this bridge, what you can do is you can just park your vehicle, because there will probably be a line of cars, as there was in our situation, and you're going to get out of your car, leave it parked there, and there's going to be a little building on your right-hand side, and that's where you're going to do your COVID checkpoint. So in this building, you need to bring your PCR test and a copy of it. They're going to keep the copy of it, and once they check you, they're going to give you this paper. It basically just says that you tested negative, and it says the date and the nurse who checked you. So then you're going to take this paper, and you're going to get back in your car, you're going to keep it with your passport, and they're going to raise the bridge so that you can cross into Honduras. You're going to keep driving straight, and directly in front of you there will be a building called El Amatillo. It's blue and white. You're going to park your car right outside of it, and you're going to go inside. So on the right-hand side when you walk in, there's going to be the immigration windows. So there you'll take this paper, and you'll take your passport, and you'll talk to the official there, and you'll tell them you're coming into Honduras, how long, what your name is, They'll ask if you did the Prechequeo and you just say yes. I think it comes up in their system if you've already done it. If you haven't done it, I don't know how long the process is to immigrate into the country. But they'll also take your fingerprints. So they'll take fingerprints off your right hand and your left hand, and then they'll charge you $3 per person to enter the country. So try to have exact change because they might not have change in US dollars. However, if you don't have change, or if you need to exchange currency, there's people outside that you can exchange currency at. So we had to exchange currency because we didn't have smaller bills. So once you're done with that whole process takes all of 5 minutes. You're going to walk across that window, and there's going to be another window on your left-hand side. It's the aduana window. This is where you're going to import your vehicle. So we got stuck there for a long time. Like, our entire border crossing process from El Salvador to Honduras took 4 hours, and this was because how long it took to get the tip. It wasn't any fault of the officials that was issuing the tip. It was the people ahead of us. Were driving across Central and South America in a Mercedes Sprinter van, and something was wrong with their paperwork. So we got stuck waiting behind them for a little over an hour and a half, just waiting for them to get their paperwork done. There was something wrong with it. So it just took a long time. And the guy who was driving the car was literally breathing down this woman's throat, who was like trying to get the paperwork done. And I could tell she was really uncomfortable. She actually told me she was uncomfortable later because I asked her if there was anything we could do to start our paperwork process, and she let me back into the room where she's working to fill out my own paperwork, since his paperwork was taking so long because there was something wrong with it. And in this building, you have to wear masks. That man's wife came into this government official building not wearing a mask, so I don't recommend doing that because it's illegal. You have to wear a mask, so wear masks because there is COVID. So yeah. So once we started filling out our paperwork, it was decently easy. If we hadn't been waiting for them, the whole border crossing process probably would have only taken 2 hours. So what you need to acquire the tip for your vehicle is your license, front and back, when you make a copy. You need your passport and a copy. You need the title of your car and a copy. So if you don't have copies, I think they might make them for you at this border crossing. The woman who did our paperwork had a copy machine next to her, and she made a copy of the Honduran tip for me, so she might actually make the copies for you if you don't have them. That was the only border crossing we've encountered this so far. But yeah, she just asked you for all that paperwork. She asked you for the make, model, what type of car it is, what your license plate is, all that stuff. And once you have that, she will start typing everything up, and it costs $35 US. So I think normally they make you go to a bank and pay this, but we crossed very early in the morning. So she wrote down on our paperwork that the bank was closed, and she let us pay her directly. She stapled the money to our form and filed it, and then she will go to the bank later on and pay it for you. So it was $35 US. She didn't have change, so make sure you have exact change when you're paying. But after this, you just get back in your car and you drive, and you're going to get to another checkpoint where they're going to ask you for your paperwork and just make sure everything's in order. And if it is, you're free to go. So everyone was super nice. We got everything done pretty efficiently, aside from waiting for those people in front of us. But it was a good border. A lot of people are scared to drive into Honduras because, you know, you hear so much about crime and stuff, but we drove through the country for 3 hours because we were heading straight to Nicaragua, and everything was fine. The only thing is, about half an hour after crossing the border, we were pulled over by police at a police checkpoint. These are super common throughout Central America, so don't be alarmed. It's not like you did anything wrong, and they will ask for your paperwork for your car. They'll ask for your identification and stuff. I didn't hand them over my passport directly. I held it and I showed it to them because I think these cops were looking for a bribe. They asked if we had any cash on us, and we did, but I said no. And all our paperwork was in order, so they let us go after searching the entire car, and this took like probably 15 minutes, which isn't like a long time, but it was annoying since we didn't do anything wrong. They just wanted to investigate because we had out of the country plates. But other than that, our drive through Honduras was smooth, and the whole process took 4 hours, but I would say it would take 2 hours if you do not get stuck behind people who don't have their paperwork in order. So I hope this was helpful. If you want more information, I'm going to post a link to the blog post where I'll write out a detailed description, and you can check that out. So it's at groovinandcruisin.com. All right, take care, travel safe.